From the archives of Oxenford Academy, preserved against time, moths, and the vanity of kings, here lie the accounts of the Northern Wars, drawn from royal decrees, battlefield journals, and the memories of those who survived, and those who did not. Wars do not begin with fanfare, not with horns, nor banners, nor the thunder of hooves. Most wars begin like this, with wind drifting across empty fields, carrying whispers no one is ready to hear. Before the burning of cities, before tens of thousands fled, before entire kingdoms fell, there was Marnadal, the first shadow of Nilfgaard, advancing not with wrath, but with certainty. In the year 1267, the Empire of Nilfgaard had already consumed the southern realms. Metina, Meicht, Ebbing, Gemera. Their borders had swollen like a tide pressing against brittle stone. But now their ambition looked beyond the Yaruga, toward the fractured, arguing kingdoms of the north. Cintra was proud, Cintra was fierce, but Cintra was alone. Along the Marnadal frontier, Cintra kept only small detachments, hunters, trackers, light cavalry patrols, brave men, but few in number, spread thin across miles of rugged borderland. The enemy they faced was unlike any force the North had ever seen, disciplined, drilled, hardened by decades of conquest. Marnadal itself was little more than a valley and a handful of wooden outposts, not a fortress, not a battlefield, merely the first ground the Empire's advance would touch. Villagers spoke of distant campfires, of scouts vanishing in the woods, of armor black as night moving silently between the trees. The Queen did not yet know it, but Marnadal had already become the doorway through which disaster would walk. Nilfgaard's force at Marnadal was small by imperial standards, a reinforced vanguard, perhaps a few hundred strong, enough to crush scattered border patrols and more than enough to test Cintra's frontier. They marched with mechanical precision, not the fury of invaders, but the quiet inevitability of a machine. Cintra answered with what the frontier could muster: border riders, levy archers, a few dozen light infantry, and a handful of knights who happened to be near enough to respond. The difference between them was not courage, it was scale, discipline, and preparation. The battlefield's gentle downward slope favored Cintra's cavalry, but the Nilfgaardians had studied these hills long before stepping into them. To the Empire, terrain was not a challenge, it was a problem with a solution. At dawn, the Cintrans attempted a swift counterstroke, a small cavalry detachment, barely 50 riders, hoping to scatter the Imperial vanguard before it could entrench. They rode with pride, courage, and centuries of tradition at their backs. But tradition breaks, steel does not. The Cintran charge struck the Nilfgaardian shields like water against rock. Lances splintered, horses crashed, men vanished beneath spear points. What Cintra hoped might delay the advance was simply absorbed. When the small cavalry push failed, the few dozen infantry behind them began to falter. They were hunters, woodsmen, border fighters, skilled but unaccustomed to battling a professional legion. Nilfgaard's front held firm, its flanks extended, its cavalry circled behind. Cintra's courage was real, but courage cannot hold a collapsing line. The cohort advanced meter by meter, unbroken, unhurried. Within an hour, Marnadal had become a graveyard of scattered Cintran patrols, blue and gold banners trampled into the mud. with their cavalry shattered, their infantry scattered, the survivors, scattered pockets of riders and levy fighters, broke contact and fled toward the Marnadal hills. The Nilfgaardians did not chase. They did not need to. The message had already been delivered. Marnadal was not a victory. It was a warning. In the weeks that followed, Nilfgaard pressed deeper into Cintran territory, slipping through the breach the failed frontier skirmish had opened. Villages emptied, roads filled with the displaced. Fear began to spread faster than the armies themselves. Queen Calanthe fortified Cintra, preparing for the storm to come. Marnadal was small, but it was the first step in the fall of a kingdom. And so the lion began to bleed. Soon, the entire realm would burn.